Hi, and welcome to Marketing Optimization with AlexDesigns. I'm your host, Alex Harris, and today we're talking with Oli Gardner from Unbounce. How you doing, Oli?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Great. To get started, I like to ask, what is your definition of optimization, and why is it beneficial?
Okay. Well, there's the kind of myopic perspective that optimization is just making things better. And when you make things better, things are better, right? You make more money. But that's a little simplistic. I mean, for me, optimization is all about your brand. When you can understand your customers better, what resonates with them, and talk to them in a way that aligns with how they feel about you, you're creating a brand, right? So by optimizing the user experience based on how they feel, how they want to interact with you, that's going to translate into revenue. But you're also going to be optimizing from A to B to C to D to E, right? It's a progression. The more you learn about someone or your customers, the more you can kind of do it in order. If you're just randomly picking things, then you may go from A to D to F back to B. You're not really making a progression. You're not affecting your brand in a way that's going to lead to long-term success. So for me, the optimization goal should be to understand, not just improve.
Absolutely. And you're a landing page expert. There's probably not many people who have seen more landing pages than me, and I would definitely consider you one of those people. You're a creative director, a content producer. You've been around in the game for forever. I'd like to know, what is Unbounce doing? And let's give a little synopsis to the people who don't know about what Unbounce does.
Sure. And just on the how many landing pages have you seen part, I've seen over 27,000 of our customers' landing pages. So I think that's a pretty good number. So Unbounce, it's a landing page builder for marketers, right? So you can build, publish, and A/B test landing pages without IT. That's the simple value prop. So what we're trying to do is give marketers independence so they can run campaigns by themselves on time, on budget, without having to ask for a web developer or someone to do it for them, right? So it's kind of putting marketing back in the hands of marketers.
Yeah. So when when a client is setting up within Unbounce, or you're helping them get through that, is there a framework that you help them follow to get to the best practices of the best conversion they can from each of those landing pages?
It's a self-serve tool. So, people come in and it's pretty easy to just get set up themselves. We offer great support, obviously, but our content is kind of how we advise people to get better. I mean, best practices are only there when you're beginning, when you're setting up your first page. That's the only time that really applies. You need a certain number of essential elements on your page. After that, it's all about following a process. You do research, you look at analytics, you get some user feedback, then you form a hypothesis, you test, and then you kind of dig into your analytics again and see how it's performing. So best practices, yeah, it's just a starting point. After that, you have to start learning about your customers.
Yep. You've written some great content focused on conversion-centered design. Can you explain that for us and tell us what's the difference between that and user-centered design?
Yeah. Well, conversion-centered design is applying, the way I've kind of positioned it, is 7 principles. 4 of them are visual design, and 3 are psychology-based. So for the visual ones, they're fairly simple, but people just aren't doing it right. Contrasting colors, people talk about this all the time, but they don't do it. If you have a mainly green-hued page, then you should have maybe a red button for your CTA. Button color is completely irrelevant. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're full of it. It's contrast that's important. So red might be really great because it contrasts with your site. So it's not really about just picking a color, because you like it or you think people are going to like it. Encapsulation is an important one. If you have a form, then you want to encapsulate that in a box so it stands out. It's the most important element on the page. If you don't wrap it in something, it can get lost. There can be other things that are vying for attention. Use of white space is, just to make things easy to read, kind of an enjoyable experience. Here I'm forgetting my own rules.
The psychology or urgency, try before you buy
Yeah,
and social proof.
try before you buy is a really important one. If you can let people experience a little bit of what you're offering ahead of time, that level of transparency gives people confidence in you, right? Because you're willing to show them something ahead of time, whether it's a preview of an ebook. It's like the Amazon model of looking inside. When you open up like that, people trust you and they're more willing to convert.
Yeah, I think those 7 principles are really core to the foundation of designing and doing conversion optimization, because you are separating the design from the psychology. And I don't think people do that enough to really analyze the ideal customers before they actually even arrive at your site. Because if you're not able to even market to these people correctly, how can you design for them correctly?
Yeah, exactly.
Through the Unbounce software or just doing landing pages in general, what would you say to the average person who's setting up landing pages or microsites, that post-click experience? What are some best tips to improve your conversion?
Yeah, the best tips are always the simplest ones. And the most fundamental and the thing you absolutely must start with is something I call attention ratio, right? When somebody, that's kind of defined by the number of interaction points on your page, the ratio of that to the number of conversion goals. So an average homepage may have 40 links on it. You've got the navigation, the footer navigation, you've got a bunch of features, maybe you've got one of those sliders at the top, you've got a bunch of promos. Average homepage has maybe 40 links on it. So and then one thing, if you're sending traffic there, say from PPC, you have one goal from the ad, you get to the homepage and the attention ratio is 4:1. The chance of someone finding exactly why you send them there is really, really slim. On a dedicated landing page, the attention ratio is 1:1 because there's one CTA, nothing else to do. If people just follow that one simple principle, striving for a 1:1 attention ratio, it's going to make a massive difference.
And now everything's kind of focused on mobile first, and the different buying modes between someone on mobile or iPad or the desktop. Have you seen a different variation of the way to do conversion testing on mobile versus desktop, or anything insightful into the responsive movement?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can't say. Well, I think it's even more important with mobile to have that single interaction point, because if you have more than that, it's such a cluttered experience anyway.
Yeah, I think in mobile, depending on where people are, whether they're driving down the street, not supposed to be on their phone, but they are. But they may want to just click and call versus filling out a form or buying or something. So and the Unbounce software really does that. You can really define those segments differently and be able to track those goals. That's a key differentiator of the software for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are every single free app, there's that light again, in the world pretty much has interstitial ads, like either between a turn of a game or, in between the kind of functional aspects of that app. And it's a perfect opportunity to link to a really simple landing page. But people don't do that. They link to, their homepage, they link to, I don't know, the App Store or something. Linking the App Store, that's probably okay if it's a dedicated page, but there's so much opportunity for that mobile experience to be superior. But,
Yeah, you have to figure out what's best for you and just continue to keep on optimizing. So, going forward, let's talk about the future of Unbounce. What do you guys have coming up in the future, and how? I'd like to know, now that I'm educated on that, the content that you're creating is essentially educating your customers to make better decisions, to design better. That makes perfect sense, and I could definitely see that how it relates to your software. What is Unbounce doing going forward in the future to?
Well, obviously there's world domination. That's that's where we start. We're kind of working on, internally we call it the big four. The features we really need to get close to feature complete. So, there's SSL, so people can have secure connections for if they want to be doing, say, a direct sign up from a landing page, or doing some e-commerce stuff. There's responsive, which obviously is a big deal. So we're trying to make a really nice way in the page builder of designing responsive experiences. Dynamic.
As far as e-commerce and taking payments, are you going to be partnering with companies like Stripe or PayPal to take payments through the landing pages or anything like that?
Not sure yet. That hasn't been planned out, but we are ramping up a lot of big partnerships right now. We're going to be partnering with Theme Forest, so we can have more of a crowdsourced template design marketplace. So that's going to be really awesome.
So if someone could create their own HTML and then import it into Unbounce and essentially create a landing page from it?
What they do, the designers on Theme Forest, they would use Unbounce to create a landing page, and we're releasing a kind of an upload-download feature in January. So basically, they can download this file, which is an Unbounce template. They can then sell that on Theme Forest. When someone gets it, they upload it into the system, and boom, they're good to go.
Yeah, so that makes sense. I haven't gone that far in the sophistication of the way your code works, but I saw that option there. That definitely makes sense. That's going to open you guys up to a way new audience, because so many people are selling landing page templates or Bootstrap templates on Theme Forest and WordPress templates, obviously. But that's definitely going to open up a new market for sure. That leads me into my next question. So where do you think you've been in the space for a while? What do you think overall the conversion space is going? So many people are doing A/B testing, and there's a million experts in the space now. Do you foresee anything coming in the future?
Well, I hope people just start doing a better job of it, really. There's still a shockingly large amount of experienced marketers doing a horrendous job. When I was talking about attention ratio, and then there's message match as well. Say for a PPC ad, you need to match the message of the ad to the landing page. It's crazy fundamentals. I did some research. I looked at about 300 ads on their destination pages, and only 2% of them were doing it right. The rest of them were leading to these just frustratingly bad experiences. So I think just continuing to educate people, is one of our biggest goals.
That relevance from pay-per-click keyword to landing page, does Unbounce have the ability to serve the keyword dynamically?
That's another of the big four. So that's one of the things we're working on, dynamic keyword insertion. So we have a few prototypes running already in-house. So that's going to be huge, I think, because you should be having one landing page for each ad. Right now, I recommend you should probably just do one for each ad group, because otherwise it's kind of overwhelming. But when we have that feature, it's going to be, I don't know, I think the impact on people's ROI and how they're doing advertising is going to completely change.
Yeah, I think that could be a big differentiator, because I know, programming it could be difficult, passing the URL variables on the string to the landing page, making it all change. And usually I can get it all done, but giving it to a client and getting it through IT, it can be difficult. So I think that's something that a lot of clients do ask for sure.
Yeah.
So let's conclude by telling people how they can find out about Unbounce and maybe sign up for your webinars that are coming up.
Yeah. So you can follow me on Twitter at Oli Gardner. I have a fairly colorful mix of education and foul language. Obviously you can follow Unbounce as well. We have a resources page on the website that has a ton of free stuff. We just released an e-course. It's me and 10 kind of world famous conversion rate optimizers teaching this course with loads of videos, and it's really, really great.
The landing page course is exceptional. Great quality of content, delivered, not overbearing. It is 11 or so emails, but great quality of content, bringing in other experts, and the design is great too, just like the majority of Unbound stuff is.
Yeah, the webinar coming up next week it's very meta. It's a webinar about webinars. How to take what's the main kind of line? It's every technique we use to run a successful webinar, how to market it, what to do afterwards, how to run a smooth one. So we're going to share everything we do to take our webinar attendance from 100, that was when we started, to over 3,000. So it should be great. That's with our director of marketing, Georgiana Lodi. So that's a lot of secrets we're going to be giving away to help people there. The URL for that, I just set it up, is bit.ly.com/webinar. So if people want to check that out.
Okay, cool. We'll put that in the show notes so everyone can go check that out. One last question. What is one key takeaway that your average web designer, marketer can be doing on their website to increase their conversions?
Well, there's another thing. This light's all over my face. There's another thing I'm working on now called contextual design, which is kind of humanizing the experience from source to destination. I think people, if it can lean towards that, I've proven it many times, it increases conversions. Like, say you're linking from an email, a blog post, you do a guest post and you're linking it out. You start a conversation in the blog post, and then you need to continue that when you get to the page. The landing page you get to from one of the CTAs on the e-course, it references where you came from immediately. There's a personal message from me. Hope you're enjoying the course. It's co-branded with Unbounce and the landing page kind of branding. So you really get a sense of you're respecting someone's click, basically. That's how I like to phrase it. If you send them to a poor experience, it's kind of disrespectful. You're wasting their time. So yeah, humanizing that experience and connecting the context, that's something I'm really trying to focus on. I think, people can get a lot out of that approach.
Yeah, personalizing that experience and really dialing it in, making it a key message, like you're actually talking to that individual person, can really win them over to make that final click and produce that conversion.
Yeah, and if I can just expand on that a little bit, another part of contextual design is context of use. So showing something with kind of authentic actuality. What's going to happen? How is this actually used in the real world? We just ran a test where I did some research, and people coming to our templates page were thinking, how much they cost? Where can I download them? Can I use them in WordPress? You can't do any of those things. They're inside the Unbounce app. So we put a diagram at the top which shows the context of use. You can choose them in the app, and then you can edit them in the app. The benefit on our revenue from that test is $1 million a year.
Wow.
Based on, we get about an extra 1,440 customers a year based on that one change alone, and then multiplied by the average revenue per customer, it's just over $1 million from one little test.
And it's probably reducing your customer service calls too, because people are like, oh,
Yeah.
can you, oh, you can't put that in WordPress? And now it's kind of answered for them ahead of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more you can do that, because it's not only important to talk to your potential customers, you need to talk to the people who aren't your customers, right? So that they don't waste their time or your time, trying to work with your product when it's not for them.
Yeah, what caused that link, that leak to make them leave? Absolutely. Well, I definitely appreciate your time, and thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. It's a lot of fun.
Great, perfect.